Hey there, if natural disaster struck, would you know what to have after weight loss surgery? If you had to hunker down for a few days and prepare for the worst, do you know what you would need to have? Are you ready for that sort of thing to happen? Hey there, this is Diana Lopez with My Bariatric Adventure, the place where we help you navigate the twists and turns of your bariatric adventure. So today we are talking about what to do if natural disasters strike. I live in Florida and it's kind of the calm before the storm. We are waiting for a tropical storm or hurricane to pass through here in the next couple days. And I thought it'd be a great time for me to come on and talk to you about what you need to have to be ready when disaster strikes. All right, so let's dive in and let's start talking about what you need. So hey, first thing first, the most important thing that you need to be aware of after weight loss surgery when disaster strikes is how are you going to keep yourself hydrated. So last year we had a hurricane come through our area. Our power was out for about 4.5, 5 days. And so we needed to be stocked up. We did all the normal things. We filled up our tubs and our sinks with water, but obviously we're probably not going to drink that unless we're super desperate. So we wanted to be able to save that for washing and baths and that's flushing the toilet and that sort of thing. So think about that as a disaster is maybe upon you, whether you're like me down in Florida or in some other state that gets hit by hurricanes, or are you in a place that maybe has tornadoes, or you have winter storms come through, you have ice storms where you can't get out of your house for several days. So what do you need to have for those kind of disasters when they strike? So we were talking about fluid, so let's talk about that. So what you need to be able to drink is at least 64 ounces calorie-free, caffeine-free liquid daily. And when I've looked at stats of what you need just for all the drinking, eating, cooking, bathing, flushing toilets, the average is between 1 to 3 gallons per person per day. So you can either, do like we do and fill up your sinks and your utility tubs and the sinks that you don't use around the house. You can get on Amazon and you can buy those collapsible water bags that you can fill and then, drain out, or maybe you go and buy water jugs, gallons of water that you keep in your pantry, you keep around the house for when disaster strikes. So you can do any of those things. So water is very important. But let's say you're not a water drinker, so you want to get out there and get stocked up on those things that you like to drink, whether it is a certain powder you use or it is maybe some sort of sports drink that you like. Make sure you got a case or two of that to get you through whatever disaster is coming your way, right? What do you need to make sure you're stocked up and ready to go? Let's say you have a disaster that your power outage or whatever's happening lasts 3 to 5 days, and you want that also to be portable. I'm in Florida, and sometimes when a hurricane warning strikes, we are ordered to evacuate. That means that we could be stranded in the car on a highway trying to get out of the state or trying to get out of our city. So I need to have things I could throw in the back of my car that are portable that we as a family could share. So what do you need to have in your house that you could take with you at a moment's notice for hydration if you need it? Bees out here. I'm outside and there's bees and butterflies and all sorts of beautiful things. I don't want to get stung. All right, so let's talk about what maybe you would need as far as food for each different diet stage. So if we're talking about clear liquids, that is pretty easy. So if you're at a clear liquid stage, there's not a lot that you can have. So maybe, you want to make sure you've got bouillon cubes, or you have a powdered broth, or you're buying the pre-made broth where all you have to do is shake it up and drink it. So you could have something like that, those little drops or powders that you'd put in a water bottle, sugar-free Jello cups. Also, you could also do protein waters during that clear liquid phase. You can also do, we don't normally recommend this otherwise, but maybe during this phase you have a collagen powder that you would use to help get in some of the protein that you're looking to get, help you to, boost you up a little bit. And if we're talking about that full liquid phase after surgery, what are some things that you would need to have on hand for a disaster? And again, at this phase, it's not super exciting. You could do any sort of shelf-stable soy milk, rice milk, almond milk. Any of those would be allowable at this phase. You could also do sugar-free pudding cups, protein powders, peanut butter powders at this phase as well. So those are some things that you could keep on hand for a disaster if you are at that full liquid phase. And let's say you're at a pureed phase, what can you keep on hand? You could do packets or cans of chicken, tuna, salmon. You could also do unsweetened applesauce. You could do any of the drinkable fruits and vegetables. Just be really careful that they have less than 15 grams of carbs per serving, and be really careful with gastric bypass with that, because sometimes all that concentrated fructose, which is a simple sugar, could cause dumping syndrome. So maybe that's something that maybe you mix in with something else. With the drinkable veggies, you should be okay with that, but watch the amount of carbohydrate in that. You could do bananas, you could do baby food, you could do bee on my hat. You could also do baby food. You could do canned soups. You could do refried beans. You could do avocados, and you could do nut butters with no pieces. So creamy peanut butter, creamy almond butter, creamy cashew butter. Those are things also that you could do at this phase in an emergency. Remember, in an emergency, we are not trying to be absolutely perfect. So just monitor how much you're eating, how your belly is filling when you're eating these different things, and how you're feeling. And be super careful with that as you're progressing through the different diet stages. And then as we talk about that soft food phase, you could do things like canned oysters. Again, you can do anything from the previous diet stages. So you could do canned chicken, canned tuna, canned salmon. You can also do canned fruits and veggies. Make sure you're looking for those that are packed in water, their own juice, draining that juice out of there. You could do soft whole grain crackers. You could also do healthy little pot meals, the little pop-top meals like chilies and that sort of things that are healthy. Those are something that you could have around as well. You could also do oat or rice cakes. You could have little jars of pate. You could also do light graham crackers as well. And then as we are talking about the regular diet stage, so this is probably the majority of people, you're just trying to scramble and figure out what can you have. Remember, you can do anything from the previous diet stages. So we've already given you lots of choices, but you can also do things like the little packets of raw unsalted nuts. You could also pack dried fruit. You could do Melba toast. You could do soy nuts. You could do roasted chickpeas, edamame lentils. I've even seen in that section of my grocery store where they have these like little dried chicken. They look like almost like pepperoni. So you could do pepperoni. You could do any of those like dried meats. You could do jerky, any kind of jerky. You could also do sardines. So those are things that are going to be shelf stable that you could pack away. That again, we're doing the best we can in an emergency situation. So those are things that you could have in an emergency. And hey, let's talk about a few other things to consider in an emergency. So remember, you should be taking your vitamins and minerals. It shouldn't matter if you have a gastric bypass or a sleeve. So you want to make sure that you've got all of your vitamins and minerals, all your medications in a safe place. If you are taking insulin, make sure you've got a nice cooler that you can keep it nice and cool. Make sure you have a list that you've recorded of all your medications, and your vitamins that you're taking. Actually write it out on a piece of paper and put it in your wallet, because if your phone dies, you're not going to have that. If something happens and you end up in the hospital, you want to be able to give that to the people at the hospital. If you're in some sort of emergency, you want to be able to give that to someone. So make sure that you have those as well. And then, typical things, check the expiration dates, make sure, you've got enough of your prescriptions, make sure you've got enough of your vitamins and minerals, get those packed up and keep them in one place ready to go in case you have to leave the house. So, all right, so that's it. So we talked about hydration, we've talked about food at different diet stages, we talked about the other things like vitamins and minerals that you need to have on hand. So make sure you have all of that ready as you're doing your hurricane prep, or your disaster prep. Maybe you're getting everything else ready. Maybe you're pulling in, like us in Florida, we're gonna start pulling in everything off of our back patio. We're gonna start taking the flags and different things out from the front of our house. We are going to, if it's bad enough and it looks like it's coming our way, we're gonna start boarding up our windows. And if we have to leave, I wanna make sure we have everything ready. Just like I want you to make sure you've got everything ready in those sort of emergencies when they happen. All right, so I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I am wishing you the best for whatever emergency situation, natural disaster is coming up for you in your area. And just, hey, stay calm, everything is gonna work out, just ride it out, don't panic, and you're gonna be okay. And last thing, in the description below, we've got our top 5 strategies for success after weight loss surgery. So if you're struggling how to figure out how to do life after weight loss surgery, make sure you go down there and grab that as well. All right, so if this video has been helpful to you, make sure you like the video so more people can see it in those disaster places when they happen and get the help they need. Hey, I so appreciate you, and we will talk soon, all right? Take care.